Hello all and welcome, and I'm the MGTOW philosopher, and in this video I would like to talk about a story in which a poor guy is brutally stabbed by his ex-girlfriend, but of course she does no jail time. I'd like to further add that common sense is a wonderful thing, and it's something we men seem to possess and women do not. Because, you know how we know things are true and we don't need evidence, Like we know that women objectify us for our wallets. We don't need some friggin' 2-year longitudinal study or 10-year study over a decade to tell us this. These are truths that we know because of common sense. We see reality. We know the truth. When we see it, when we hear it, we know what the objective reality actually is in most cases. At least if you possess common sense. If you were raised a pussy by a single mother, you might have had it bred right out of you. Okay? But most of us know when something is true, when it makes common sense. And the same goes for the title of this article. If it was the other way around, I think I'd be in prison. And you know that's the case. Driving instructor 23, who was brutally stabbed by his jealous ex-girlfriend, is demanding tougher sentences for violent women. And we all know that if he had brutally stabbed his girlfriend, that he would have went to jail. We know this. We know this just because we have common sense. We don't need studies. We have evidence right here, but we see it all the time in our real life. We don't need any study to boil it down and condense it and show us what we already know. And the story is just going to further cement what we already know to be true, that women are crazy cunts with no logic, no reason, no agency, no consequences to ever be suffered for their actions, so they just do whatever they want. I want to stab you. Okay, so let's get to the meat of this story, shall we? And the meat would be him because he got stabbed like he was a piece of meat. Nobody seems to care. Michael Mahalifi, 23, weird name, was returning belongings to his ex-girlfriend, but she came over to his car and slashed his hand with a knife. The attack left him with a 10-centimeter cut. Holy shit! And he needed 2 operations. Zoe Radler, however, avoided jail. And Mr. Mahalifi is calling for tougher sentences. And warning, there's graphic content. Yeah, you're going to actually see what she did to him. So here's the poor guy. Kid, really. A driving instructor who was left needing 2 operations when his jealous girlfriend brutally stabbed him is calling for tougher sentences for violent women after she avoided jail. Yeah, they definitely need it. Michael Mahalifi, 23, was returning below. Yeah, we read that. The attack left him with a deep 10-centimeter cut to his hand, required stitches, 2 operations. Yeah. Okay, you're telling us stuff we already know. Radley of Cressing, Essex. Of course, this happened in the UK, one of the top 5 feminist countries on the planet. Of course, confessed to the crime, but was spared jail at Chelmsford Crown Court. Of course she was spared jail. She has a vagina. I can try to kill a man, and I get away with it because I have a pussy. Well, good for you. Bad for him, but good for you. Her sentence has infuriated Mr. Mahalifi. Well, it doesn't infuriate anybody else. Isn't anybody else infuriated? I mean, I love how the paper just, placidly says, oh, he's infuriated. Isn't anybody else infuriated? Aren't you, the newspaper, infuriated? Oh, I hate these fucking papers. They take it on themselves to write what seem like op-ed pieces to me where they give their opinions ad infinitum about how the man is scum, the man is evil, the man needs to go to jail when it's a man that does something wrong. But if it's a woman that does something wrong, suddenly they become serious reporters. And they only report the facts, and they don't actually give their opinions or give any opinion. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, it infuriated him. It should infuriate the writer of this article, too, who should say so, because these motherfuckers have become almost like activists these days. They're not real journalists. They're activists with an outlet, with a rag to express their activism. Oh, but now she's become, or he, or who is writing this, has suddenly become a serious journalist when it's a man that's victimized. Yeah, okay. So Mr. Mahalifi said that if it was the other way around, I think I'd be in prison. Of course, and all of us know that. Common sense tells us that. What we see in our daily lives tells us that. Our brains tell us that. After the incident in March last year, police attended. Mr. Mahalifi was taken to Broomfield Hospital by ambulance. There they carried out exploratory surgery to check for tendon damage and stitched the wound. Mr. Mahalifi, I'm probably butchering the name, I said I thought she was going to get locked away, even if it was just for a short time, because she's already got a criminal record. Oh, and of course, this story gets even more interesting, because like all big fat, self-entitled, blob land whale women in the UK, and they're all feminist cunts. Of course, she also has a criminal record, don't you know? Big surprise. And here's a picture of the wound. So if you've already eaten, you might want to, skip this part. Good Lord, look at that. Jesus Christ, it makes me cringe just looking at it. So you imagine how crazy this woman must be. She stabbed his hand, pulled the knife. I mean, Jesus, look at the size of that. Yikes. Makes my balls sack shrivel up just looking at it. And the caption says it left him with a deep 10-centimeter cut in his hand, which required stitches and physiotherapy for a year. For a year? Was she having to pay for that physiotherapy? Oh, no. Oh, no. She's a poor single mother. Yeah, that's right. She's a single mom, too. Imagine that. A big, fat land whale feminist in the UK that's also a single mom. Big surprise. And here we have a much larger photo of the stab cut to his hand. Look at that. I mean, Jesus Christ, that is... Oh, my God. And, of course, no jail time, right? Oh, because he's a man, of course, and as a man, he's not as important as a woman. And, of course, anything required to destroy the patriarchy, if you have to destroy a man, chop him up into little pieces, the ends justify the means, now don't they? The article goes on to say, but I think she got off because she's got a daughter. The system is totally wrong. Yeah, oh, you have a daughter. Well, we don't want to leave your daughter in somebody else's care. Maybe your mom has to raise her. Maybe she goes into foster care. So even though you tried to kill somebody, sure, because you have a kid, it's an automatic get-out-of-jail-free card. And that sends a wonderful message to all the women out there in the UK and everywhere else in the West, but especially in the UK, that, hey, if you want to kill somebody, do it. And if you get caught, well, make sure you have a kid, and that way you have a get-out-of-jail-free card. Yeah, lovely message to send to ladies out there. He goes on to say, she has basically got away with it. I mean, gotten away with it. It won't stop her doing things in the future, and it's not much of a turn. Oh, sure, a deterrent. I mean, sure, she's a criminal. She's a criminal. She's tried to kill somebody already. But let's just let her off because she has a daughter. And by the way, judgy, I don't know who the judge in this case was, but he is an abomination, or she, or whatever. You're an abomination, judge. You are an abomination. Now look at the example you're setting for this kid. Now the kid's going to grow up to be just like this scumbag mother. You should have sent this woman to jail and thrown away the key. But oh no, you felt sorry for her because she had a kid. So let's just let her go home and teach her daughter to be a man stabber too. Wonderful lesson you've taught us there, Judgy. Yeah, good lesson for women out there. You've essentially thrown this woman, if you could call her that, this woman's child to the proverbial wolves by letting this person raise that kid instead of sending her to jail. You've been doing her daughter a favor. And by the way, what is this guy doing dating a single mother? And what is he doing? Oh, and she's 36 and he's 23? What the hell? Dude, you got to get some game, okay? You're a 23-year-old guy dating a 36-year-old single mom. Come on. You can do better than that, right? Although, with what I've seen of UK women, there might not be better there. He might be extremely limited in his options by the fact that most UK women are big, fat, sloppy pigs. So, the couple had split up after a 6-month relationship before the attack in March. Mr. Mahalifi, oh God, that name. I went to her house, and she had a few bits of mine as well. She came up to the car and handed me this bag of donut mix that was mine, and then cut the bag open and me. In one sense, it was an accident, but why did she have the knife? It wasn't an accident. Of course not. She wanted to be able to claim it was an accident later on because she had the forethought to know that she'd probably get arrested. This bitch is crazy. But not, maybe not really. It seems pretty well thought out to me. She knew that she'd get arrested. She knew that she could claim that it was an accident. She had no fear because she knew she would get off because she has a vagina. She knew she had injured me because I was bleeding, and she said I would need stitches before walking off and having a cigarette. Oh, she wasn't upset? She wasn't traumatized that she had stabbed you, quote unquote, accidentally? Yeah, accident my ass. Mr. Mahalifi of Braintree, Essex, has been left with a scar and permanent damage. Yeah, no shit. You saw that wound. And, of course, here is the big, fat, massive land whale that we should all feel sorry for. Now imagine her with a big, giant knife in one hand, all bloody, and a cigarette in the other, and she's puffing away as he's bleeding out. Yeah. Does she look more sympathetic or less sympathetic when you imagine her that way? And by the way, I'm not sympathetic to her at all. Look at that ugly face. That is one ugly broad. What is it with UK women? They're hideous. Hideous. Show me an attractive UK woman. They don't seem to exist anymore. I mean, I'm sure there's some, but Jesus Christ. I thought that Americans were fat and ugly. Good Lord, this woman takes the cake. You couldn't do better, son? You couldn't do better than this at 23? Come on. Come on. There's a lot of young girls running around out there whose hypergamy hasn't kicked in, who you know, aren't looking for the super rich guy yet. You could have done better than her. Come on. Although maybe not. I mean, I've always said that fat women are for poor guys. So, yeah, maybe he couldn't do any better. But no, he could do better. This attempted murderess, yeah, you could do better than her, pal. And just look at that wound. Is pussy worth it, guys? Especially big, fat land whale pussy like that, where you got to roll her in flour and then look for the wet spot. Is that worth it? I don't think so. Look at his hand, all sutured up. They said stitches. I love how they don't know how to actually use medical terms, because those are not stitches. Those are sutures. Sutures are for much deeper wounds that stitches won't close up. See how each individual so-called stitch is tied off to itself? That's because it's sutures. You need to use sutures because stitches don't have enough tension. I love how the media always seeks every single opportunity in existence to minimize the wound, to minimize the actions of the woman. Oh no, it's not sutures, it's stitches. Right down to how the wound is fixed. They lie. He said my left hand will never be the same. Well, my hand will never be the same. I'm left-handed and self-employed, so it affected my job. Yeah. I had to take off a week of work. Wow, he's a trooper. Only a week? Did she pay for the money he lost? Of course not. She got off scot-free because she's a woman. Of course. And it goes on to say, following the injury, because police took my car and I had to take another week off for the second surgery. Did he get compensated for that by her? Oh, she's a poor single mother. Boo-hoo, she doesn't have the money. I think she should have to give something back to, like, community service. Wow, he's a little too generous. I would want her to go to hard jail time for about 2 to 3 years. A suspended sentence isn't enough. She got a suspended sentence. Unbelievable. Of course, you know, if a man tried to hack off some woman's hand, 5-year minimum jail sentence. Bye-bye. You have a kid? Too bad. It won't impact her. All she has to do is not break the law again, which is what normal people do anyway. Yeah, this bitch ain't normal, that's for sure. Radley admitting having an article with a blade or point, unlawful wounding, and damaging property at Chelmsford Crown Court. She was given an 18-month jail sentence, which is not enough, but it was suspended for 2 years for unlawful wounding. Radley was also given 9 months for possession of a bladed article and 1 month for criminal damage. Given what? What are you talking about? She's allowed to go home. It's like probation, essentially. Probation for trying to chop somebody's hand off and leave him with a 10-centimeter cut. They had to get 2 surgeries. He's never going to have full use of his hand again. But he's a man, so it's not that important. She has a girl. She has a daughter. She has a child. So, oh, we need to feel sorry for her. We can't put her in jail. Of course, they have no problem putting fathers in jail all the time. Radley was told to pay a victim surcharge of, what? £100 and complete a 60-day rehabilitation action. Are you kidding me? You want to talk about slaps on the wrist? And somebody out there is going to tell me that the matriarchy doesn't exist? We men, we need to start using this word matriarchy more. Guys, we need to start using the words that represent the truth. We in the Western world all live in matriarchies. We need to counter their lies with truth. This is the product of an actual matriarchy where women are using their pull, their power, their influence to get, to vote, to acquire more privileges than we men have. Patriarchy's definition would be that men had set things up to serve them so that they benefited. Well, that's what we're seeing now. We never had that. By the way, patriarchy never actually existed. That's a false narrative created by the left, by feminists to justify their power grabs. But matriarchy is very real. Look at this. She tries to kill a guy. No jail time. 100 pounds. Ooh, that's such a big amount of money. Yeah, that's a real harsh punishment. It goes on to say, it was made clear in court there was no intention to harm the victim, and this was taken into consideration during sentencing. So now the newspaper actually does take it upon itself to give some kind of opinion, because this was in no way proven. She made the claim that it was accidental as she stabbed him and then walked away and said, "Yeah, you'll need stitches. I pissed at you. I just cut your hand, almost cut your hand off. Go get stitches." Oh, it was accidental as she lit up a cigarette, standing there with her blood all over him. Yeah, it was accidental. And the newspaper wants you to believe that. Oh, it was stitches, not sutures. Oh, she's not scum. I'm usually an activist in this newspaper, because this is UK, of course, and I'm writing for a rag online piece of crap newspaper, and I'm really an activist. Now I got into journalism so I could push my leftist propaganda bullshit through the media. But in this article, because it's about a woman and it's negative about a woman, I'm just going to act like an actual journalist would, and I'm not going to comment until the very end, where I'm going to try and make it look like the woman did it accidentally. You scum, you scum. I hate you, you fucking scumbag leftist, left-wing rag piece of crap. Yeah, there was no intention to harm the victim. How do you know that? You don't know that. The evidence and common sense proves the opposite to me. Chops his hand, walks away 5 feet, lights up a cigarette, and tells him matter-of-factly, "You need stitches." Yeah. There was no, that was an accident. There was no intent. Give me a fucking break. So let me know what you think of this article. Does it make your blood boil? Has it made my blood boil? Let me know in the comments section of this video. And please like and subscribe. And if you would, donate to my Patreon, because you know that YouTube is going to demonetize this video. And you'll find a link in the description and the last 20 seconds of this video. I am the MGTOW philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.